Well, hello, my friends. Welcome back. We continue our journey through the valley of the shadow of probability. I'm Rusty Waller, your guide, and this is coming to you from the American University of Ras Al Khaimah and the Teaching and Learning Center. In this particular module, Module 1, we're examining probability. This video is going to examine the idea of conditional probability. So bear with me in this. Conditional probability is the condition that one thing happens based on the prior occurrence of another thing happening. For example, what is the probability that the second flip of a coin produces a heads when the first flip of the coin produces a tails? Let me reword that. What is the probability that we flip a coin and the first flip is tails, and then we flip a coin again and the second flip is heads? What is the probability that the second flip of the coin produces a heads when the first flip of the coin produces a tails? This is an example of conditional probability. Flip 1, we got a tails. You should enjoy that. That's a picture of a deer. Flip 2, we got a heads. What is the probability that we would flip the coin first and get a tails, and then flip the coin and get a heads? This is conditional probability. And it is read as, what is the probability of A dependent on B? A conditional B. The probability of A happening conditional on B happening. The probability of A given B is another way of saying that. The probability of A given B. B happens first and then A occurs. And what is the probability of B happening first, then A occurring? Here's the formula that you'd use. The probability of A given B is equal to the probability of A intersect B divided by the probability of B. Very interesting, isn't it? Or here's another way to write the formula. The probability of A given B is equal to the number of elements in A intersect B divided by the number of elements in B. A lot of times this is the easier formula to use. The number of elements in A intersect B divided by the number of elements in B. Okay, so we flip a coin once, we get a tails. We flip a coin again and we want a head. We want the event of a tails heads. So what is the probability of getting a heads on the second flip after we got a tails on the first flip? A is equal to head on the second flip. B is equal to tails on the first flip, and find the probability of A given B. Now here's this one formula. We will do it both ways. This is the formula that many see as easier to use. The probability of A given B is the number of elements in A intersect B divided by the number of elements in B. Let's look at this just a moment. Our entire possible range of events in flipping two coins twice is we get heads heads, heads tails, tails heads, or tails tails. Now these two that are in red are the possibilities of meeting B, where we get a tails on the first flip. So out of the entire sample set, B is composed of 2 elements. So the number of elements in B is 2. Now we just need to find the number of elements in A intersect B. So in B we have tails heads and tails tails. And in A, we want to have a heads on the second flip, so there's only one that meets that. So the probability of A given B is the number of elements in A intersect B divided by the number of elements in B. 1 divided by 2, or the probability of A given B is 0.50 or 50%. Now observe that. A listing of the possible events helped greatly. A Venn diagram might be even more helpful. Let me draw you a Venn diagram of this and see if this helps. In this diagram, we have the sample space. Our sample space for the possible events for 2 coin flips are simply these: heads heads, heads tails, tails heads, tails tails. Now event B are the events in which we got a tail on the first flip. And in these two, we got a tail on the first flip. These do not fall into B because we got a heads on the first flip. B is composed of the events where we got tails on the first flip. A is composed of the events where we got heads on the second flip. So you see we got a tails on the first flip is B. A is where we got heads on the second flip, here and here. So A intersect B is this amount right here. So let's look at this just a moment now and see if we can calculate this probability of A given B using the other formula. The probability of A given B is equal to the probability of A intersect B divided by the probability of B. The probability of B is 2 out of 4. The probability of A is 1 out of the 4. Therefore, the probability of A given B is equal to 1/2 or 0.5000. You notice this case I gave you 4 because that's very common in statistics to have 4 decimal places, or 50%. We got exactly the same answer. Some of the symbols that you should know, and this one would be for this one, is the probability of A given B. Understand this is a conditional probability where B happens first and then A occurring. Probability of A given B means the probability that B occurs first, then A happens. Terms to know. The definition of conditional probability. One event occurs after another event occurs. The probability that one event follows a second event happening. And again, the probability of A given B is the meaning of the symbol. I want to thank you very much for your support. I hope you're enjoying these in a sick sort of way, but I do hope that they're proving beneficial to you. In the mantra of the Hunger Games, one of my favorite movies, may the odds be ever in your favor. May you make it through this obstacle course and emerge with an excellent grade. You have a great day.